So that means providing examples is very important. Huge potential of solar energy, where you can mention that Rajasthan, run of Kutch region, Gujarat or Tamil Nadu, and we can say that some part of central India. Only one exception is this one, AI. Generally we learn AI related to GS3, but they ask in geography. Hello dear aspirants, welcome to Lukmaan IS. Now this is the first impression of UPSC GS1 paper geography section that has taken place today morning only, and I am going to provide you brief let's say idea about the nature of questions and the difficulty level, whether any new element that has been introduced in geography section. So like every year UPSC has asked total 8 questions, 4 10 markers and 4 15 markers. So total weightage they have continued 100 marks out of 250. This is common thing. But let's try to see the difficulty level and the new elements that UPSC has brought in this paper. Okay, so first you can see that first question. How are climate change and sea level rise affecting very existence of many island nations? Discuss with example. Now I will show you the common, let's say, nature of framing of question. All these 4 questions of geography have this common, let's say, command here. Discuss with example, discuss with suitable example, or let's say explain with examples. Again explain with examples. So that means providing examples is very important, and we have been telling that to students. You should be ready with examples for all types of resources, industries, or we can say the geophysical phenomena. So climate change has been repetitively asked, like previously they have asked impact of climate change on food security of tropical countries, or impact of climate change on sea level rise, impact of climate change on water resources of India. This has been common theme. This year also they have asked impact of climate change and sea level rise affecting existence of many island nations. So yes, of course we know that climate change is having very significant impact on island nations. Rather they are the going to be the first let's say impact, the severe impact or disproportionate impact on island nations. We will have the detailed discussion separately. I am giving here brief idea about the difficulty level, and most of you may have prepared for this question. That's why I am giving simple as a difficulty level here. So this was a simple question. Most of you can give examples also, like Maldives, low-lying countries in Indian Ocean region or Pacific Ocean, Vanuatu or Fiji Islands. So you can give such examples, variety of examples you should give. Right. What are the non-farm primary activities? How are these activities related to physiographic features in India? Just now I was discussing with my team, and I was telling them today only we had a geography Tucker test series question paper, and 2 days back when I had framed that question paper, and we had framed exactly similar question talking about the allied activities associated with agriculture sector. So basically non-farm primary activities includes the allied sectors of agriculture like poultry sector, aquaculture or dairy, cattle rearing, or we can say animal farming, or we can also add aquaculture or let's say apiculture and all these things. In addition to that, mining and quarrying is also non-farming primary activities. So if you get this idea, you can easily relate. Second part is how these activities physiographic, different parts of the country, coastal regions, fishing, or we can say that the Gujarat and that region, dairy, Amul, you can give example, cooperative farming, or we can say dairy farming. Apiculture, we can say honey production, and along with that, let's say silk production also. Okay, so such kind of, let's say, physiographic features you can give, let's say, examples like mountain or let's say dense forested areas, or particular type of, let's say, resources that are required for that particular activity, because it is asking example. Now as it is involving some kind of applied knowledge, so I have given moderate difficulty level here. Understood? Okay. Now explain briefly the ecological and economic benefits of solar energy generation with suitable example. Now this is a traditional question, repeated theme from PYQ. You may have prepared this one, right? Ecological benefits, like it's a clean energy, abundant source, and let's say there is no pollution also, and yes, of course it is not having any kind of, let's say, harmful impact. Ecological, right? The way the fossil fuels are having let's say ecological damage. Economic benefits, you can mention that, of course, long term there are, let's say, a lot of economic benefits. Fossil fuels we are importing a lot, so import will reduce. We, let's say, will become independent in terms of, let's say, economic activity. we are having we are tropical country, so we can say that abundant source of solar energy is there. So all these are economic benefits, and mention some government initiatives also with certain examples where we have huge potential of solar energy, where you can mention that Rajasthan, run of Kutch region, Gujarat or Tamil Nadu, and we can say that some part of central India. Then what are tsunamis? Question mark, how and where they are formed and what are their consequences. So this one I would say that as it is PYQ, so simple in terms of difficulty level. Then we can say what are the tsunamis, how and where they are formed, what are their consequences. Now this was a pending question. Why? Because it is mentioned in syllabus itself, geophysical phenomenon such as earthquake, cyclones, tsunamis, etc. So it is mentioned in, we can say that syllabus, so you should be ready with this particular geophysical phenomenon, and I believe that most of you know, and most of the students might have explained it properly with the help of diagram also. So here the tricky aspect is, we can say, explain with example. Recently only, when there was earthquake in Kamchatka Peninsula, there was tsunami in Japan, although it was comparatively less let's say disastrous as compared to 2011 Japan tsunami and 2006 we can say 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, you can give that. Okay, so these examples you should be mentioning while giving your answer. So I have given simple as a difficulty level here. So from 4 parts of your syllabus, this one is geophysical phenomenon, this is, let's say, solar energy generation in India, it is, we can say that energy resources part, primary activities, locational factors of primary, secondary and tertiary activities, and this one climate change, the last part of your syllabus, we can say that the changes in flora and fauna because of, let's say, climate change. Okay, so this one we can say largely simple aspect, 10 markers. Now have a look at 15 markers. Most of them are applied question. Now again, resources was focus, distribution, give the geographical explanation of distribution of offshore oil reserves of the world. Now offshore oil reserves, very specific. Offshore means inside the ocean, we can say, generally on continental shelf. Now most of the crude oil reserves around the world, they are, we can say, offshore oil reserve, be it Persian Gulf region, or you can talk about the Arctic Sea, that present many times in news. When there is melting of Arctic Sea, Russia is, let's say, going to harness those offshore oil reserves there. Then how they are different from onshore occurrences of oil reserves. So briefly, you can, on the same map of world, you can, let's say, show both offshore and onshore and how they are different. So that is tricky aspect here. Different is basically, you should know that there is appraising of land. Let's say previously that particular area might have been a kind of submarine area, abundant growth of, let's say, marine animals and plants, and that resulted into, we can say, burying of all those dead animals, resulting in, we can say, that crude oil and natural gas reserves. But later on, that particular, let's say, continental shelf has been appraised, submarine platform has been appraised, and now it is, let's say, being used as, we can say that, or at present it is, we can say that, onshore, and that this is how the major difference you should be able to explain. Along with that, major river valleys, like we have Brahmaputra Valley, there are, we can say, oil reserves. But even earlier, let's say, that has been part of Tethys geosyncline. So again, we can say it was earlier the marine, let's say, submarine platform. So you should be able to relate and give such examples also. Now this is, let's say, a kind of only difficult question that most of the students may have found in geography section. How can artificial intelligence and drones can be effectively used along with GIS, geographical information system, and remote sensing techniques in locational and aerial planning? Now this is purely geographical optional terms. Okay, locational analysis and aerial planning or aerial differentiation. These are, let's say, important themes in geographical or perspectives in geography. But yes, in general, students may have written that, okay, locational and, let's say, area planning means it is about regional planning or urban planning, rural planning, town planning. So they could relate this technology with different aspect of this planning, okay, planning process. Like for example, let's say a simple example we can give is, let's say, housing. So how much land is available, what kind of, let's say, people are living in that particular region, and let's say the density of population is there, and let's say other example is traffic. So AI can be used in terms of, let's say, analysis of traffic, the wide width of road, how much, let's say, width of road is required. So future planning can be done. So location and aerial planning, you should be giving such examples. And some key terms, if they are writing, if you are able to write, geography optional student may have written some let's say key terms, but fine, you may let's say get average marks by writing even generic points. So I would say it is kind of difficult question among all 8 questions. Now discuss how the changes in shape and size of continents and ocean basins of the planet take place due to tectonic movement of crustal masses. Now if you are able to interpret the meaning of this question, it's very easy. You have to explain the plate tectonic and seafloor spreading aspect. Okay, so here it is mentioned tectonic movements. So from that also student can understand, and from these tectonic movements one can explain the convergent plate boundary, how the changes are happening, the crust is getting destroyed, and a divergent boundary, there is new crust formation and spreading of ocean floor. This is what it is asking, changes in shape and size. Okay, so shape aspect is also you can mention. What is happening is whenever there is convergent plate boundary, there is crustal folding, and because we see the long fold mountains that are being formed, like Rockies and Andes is there, or Alps and Himalayas is also there. So such examples you could give here, and it is purely theoretical question, we can say tectonic theories, but its interpretation should be appropriate as it is applied in nature, the statement that is given. That's why moderate is. You can fetch good marks if you are writing, let's say, if you are good in theoretical aspect. Now again it is applied question, but this was asked from the demographic geography part. Okay, demographic geography, they have been asking questions, like last year also there was one question related to migration. Okay, so we were expecting this time also they will keep that trend. Discuss the distribution and density of population in Ganga river basin. Last year there was question on water resources of Ganga river basin, and let's say its effect on food security of India. So that has become now favorite area of UPSC, asking Ganga river basin or that region. So it is talking about distribution and density of population in Ganga river basin with reference to land, soil and water resources. So you have to relate with these resources, availability of these resources, or how these factors are playing important role in terms of population density and distribution. For example, we know that Bihar, West Bengal, the lower plains of Ganga, they are densely populated, and because of that, let's say we know that fertile soils are there and water availability is there. So traditionally these have been the densely populated regions. But if you see the Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh, the large land holdings, it is talking about land. Okay, the large land holdings are there, although population density is less. In Bihar and West Bengal, there is, we can say that population, more population is there and land holding is less, although the soil fertility is more or less same. And water availability is also, we can say, more or less same in terms of, we can say, groundwater and surface water. In recent times, although the groundwater in Punjab and Haryana, it has, let's say, declined because of, let's say, over irrigation practices, green revolution and all these things you can relate. So many things to write, but you should draw the map of, let's say, at least North India and show population density and land holding sizes and water availability. Okay, now this is, I would say, moderate. Why? Because you will be able to write somehow, you have the basic knowledge about this part. Okay, so overall what I would say is the predictable questions, but only one exception is this one, AI. Generally we learn AI related to GS3, but they asked in geography. Okay, so this is the unpredictability and the minor surprise element that UPSC keeps in every section and every paper. Right, so overall I would say that it was moderate in nature. First 4 10 markers, let's say, quite easy, and these 15 markers we can say moderate to difficulty level, difficult. So overall we will say easy to moderate, simple to moderate, and scoring section of GS1. We will provide you the overall analysis of GS1 and subject wise analysis of GS1 also, and we are going to have within next week the detailed analysis of all these questions. Thank you.